Alright guys, it's been a short minute, but we're back in Make a Website project. We're going to do Shutterbugg. You can see here I already did this. Normally what I would do is I'd work through it together and but I just felt like for these I'm going to do it myself first and then we're gonna go ahead and redo this. So that way at least I have my notes and all that sort of stuff. So as you can see, we have a HTML file and a style sheet.css. So what are we going to be making? We're going to be making this, basically. And we want to make the bulk of it as quickly as possible. So what does ours look like? So if you want to see what ours looks like, we go localhost colon 8000. So this is currently what we're working with here. So what is the first thing it asks us to do? It says here's an image. You can copy that. And in the main section, so div class main, so we'll go to main. We want to add a background. So we'll say background dash image. And then we're going to set it to the URL. And don't forget your quotes in here. And bam. So that is we're going to save that. And now when we go to our local host 8000, you can see now we have a background image. So it's looking a little bit more like that. Cool. So let's go ahead and check that off. So also in the main section, we want to add a text heading and a subheading. So let's go back to our main. So here's main again, and we want to add text heading. So let's see what theirs looks like, so we know what heading we're putting in. So introducing Shutterbugg. So let's put it looks big, so we're gonna go with H1, and we'll put introducing Shutterbugg /H1, and a subheading. They used a paragraph. I looked it up to see what they were using. So let's go ahead and use a paragraph as well. And that says capture the moments that matter. And we're going to CSS to style it into a button. So alright, so add a link that says download. So the way we're going to do this is pretty simple. We're just going to do ahref equals download Shutterbugg. Oops, what am I doing? So just put a pound. So this is our URL, and then here we put download Shutterbugg /a. Alright, but that's not a button so far, but we should still have some text. Localhost 8000. So, oh, don't forget to save as well. There we go. So you can see it's kind of looking like it, and we're gonna try and speed through this and only be in sort of the idea that okay, well, CSS is something you can do on your own, but for the sake of making this look more like a button, we're gonna go down to the main section, and you can see they don't have a dot main anchor tag. So what do we want to do for that? So they told you already that they want you to have this background color. So we're going to give it a background color. And it's going to be of the type 238, 68, 95, and then that's 0.9. So, and don't forget the RGBA in front of it. RGBA. Alright. Save this. So now it's going to have a background color. Cool. Still not looking too great. So what else can we do? We also want to give it some padding. So the padding, this will make it so it's not as, doesn't look like it's getting so condensed. So this is what I gave it last time. So 10px, 20px, 10px, 20px, and we're just going to save it and refresh it and see what it looks like every time we do it. Alright, cool. So it's still looking a little like we want it to have a little bit of curves to it. So what we need to do is call border dash radius And there's really, for me, no solid way of how to say like what border radius is good or bad. So I just kind of go with 5px always, um, and that usually is good enough. You can also use percent, and so anyhow, so but it's also a little bit too much to the side here. So there's a couple things we can do here. In this case, I want to actually add the position and shift this over a little bit. So what do we need to do? So we need to declare the position relative so that we can shift it relative to where it's at. So, and then we want to shift it left by 50 pixels. So let's go ahead and save that. And now this should move over by 50. Cool. And we could probably do the same thing for our P tag. Save that. Refresh this. Cool. Maybe a little less for that since, or a little more for this rather. So let's do our A tag of 70, and then maybe we'll do the we'll do a dot main h1, and we'll do a position relative left 50. All right, so let's go ahead and refresh this. Okay, so it's not looking too bad. It's not perfect, but for the sake of being for what it is right now, we'll just leave it alone. Oh, and also, real quick, we can change the color of the font so that it's white instead of blue like a normal anchor tag in there. So that looks a lot better. So cool. So I think we finished the second one pretty good. So let's go ahead and check that off. And now it's saying in the div class section, here we are, use Bootstrap's grid system. If you're not familiar with Bootstrap, it's a CSS that Twitter developed. So it's pretty cool. I use it on my own site, just their grid system. So go ahead and check it out. On their site, it's pretty self-intuitive, but you see, don't forget, they already have it in here that you have to link to it, though. So just follow along, and I'll try and make it as clear as possible. So it works off, basically, think of you have rows and columns like a table, and the way Bootstrap works is you have 12 columns, and even if you just have 2 items, it'd be 6 columns and 6 columns, and it kind of makes your site responsive in that fashion. So we're going to create a div called row, div class, and set it equal to row. Don't forget to close your div. And again, if you're forgetting what the next step is, let's go ahead. This is what we're going to be doing. And so when we stretch, you see how that moves? It's because of the grid system. So cool. So the next thing, we're going to have a picture on the left and some text and a heading on the right. So div class section. And we're going to have row. So what do we put in here? So we're going to need 2 column classes. So columns are denoted like this, and then you can have small, medium, or large, or I think there's even extra large. But for this case, we're just going to use small, and we're going to set it equal to 6. And then we need to close that, /div. And here it's just an image. We'll do image src equals, and then add this image. So go ahead and copy that, put it in here, close it. Cool. I'm going to save that. So that's our first container, our first column. So next we want to do another, because remember the 6, so -6, so that adds up to 12. Cool. So it knows what it needs to do, /div, and then in here, let's go back and see what it was that it said. So there was a share, so we'll have an h1 that it says share /h1, and then we'll have like maybe a p tag, and we'll just go ahead and copy and put that in there, and /p, save that. And then it says write CSS to adjust the text size. So we are in, let's see, section. So let's go to section.row. Okay, so they've already added a little bit of padding here. So main section. So what we'll do is we'll just create a section.paragraph at the top here. So dot section p. And we'll just say font dash size, and we'll put it at 200%. So let's go ahead and save it and see what that looks like now. So here's this. This is what it needs to look like, this first top part. So again, we're not going for exact. We're going for similar. So cool. So there it is. This needs to be shifted over a bit. But all in all, not too bad. So maybe we might, what would we do here? We'd probably do what we did with the earlier thing, and we would say, oops, also, this is where we messed up. This needs to be in, we put this in the wrong div. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I didn't notice that. So this needs to be in its own column. Save that, and let's see how this looks. So it looks a little bit better spacing, but this needs to be floated to the left a bit. So let's see. So maybe we'll do section dot image. So let's find our section. Our dot section img. Dot section img. And we'll say position relative, and we'll say left 50px. Save it. Let's see if that fixed it. Alright, cool. So it's a little more out to the side. Let's bump that up to 100px, really throw it out there. Alright, so cool. Now it's looking a lot more like what we were messing with. So nice. So it's kind of what we might want to do. I'm not sure this will work, but what we could do here, as I'm working with it and thinking about it, is left 50%. Let's see if that will do it. That way this will change along. Oh no, because I think that's, let's try left 25%. I was thinking it would just work for that row and column, but I think it may be overriding. I think it may be doing the whole thing. So, but at 25%, cool. All right, so 25% is the magic number, because remember, each one of these is taking up 50% of the space. So nice. Let's go ahead and close this up a little bit. So it looks like we finished step 3. So what's next? Inside div class section, create 2 more rows that each have 2 equal size. So what are we creating again? Something very similar to what we just did. So in this case, it's going to be left, right image, and then right, left image. Cool. So it wants us to do that in div class section. So here's section. So this is our first row. So we want to create another one right here, and in it, same thing. Actually, what we could even do is just go ahead and select this. Copy that. Let's go ahead and gut out everything. And so create a row that has 2 equal size columns. We got that. Inside the first column, add this image. So, did we mess up here? Oh, I'm looking at this wrong one. So inside div class sections, create 2 more rows that each have 2 columns. All right, cool. So we're actually creating 2 of these. So we're going to have 2, so we can do this one more time. So where is our div class row? So let's just Control C, Control V, Control V, and gut it. Take out everything that's not a div right now. So first one right here. All right, cool. So it says add. The first thing that we're adding right now is explore. Let's go ahead and copy this text. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to use a heading. All right, so here's the first one. We have a H1. This says explore. We're going to close that H1. Then we have a paragraph. This says explore some stuff. Cool. And now we need to add the image. So we're going to image src is equal to slash close. What's our image? Control C. Cool. And now we're going to do, we have another image, except this one's going to come first on the left-hand side. So here we are. We're going to say image src is equal to, close it, and then we have another heading here. This is save. So this is going to be our H1. It's going to say save. And then we'll just go ahead and copy this in there. So let's go ahead and save that. So that's the fourth section. Let's make sure we did everything properly. So far so good. It's looking very similar. So granted, there's a lot of white space, but that's kind of how their site is, it looks like to me. So let's go ahead and check this off, the fourth one. So again, we're just going for similar. We're not going for exact. So feel free to style it perfectly if that's what you'd like to do. So now where it says in the footer, so where's the footer? Here's our footer. If you're like me, you don't really like any empty spaces like this. Oops. Cool. So, in the footer, create a row with 3 equal size columns. So, remember, div class equals row. So, you always start it off like this. And don't forget to close it. And so, for 3 equal size row, that would be 4. And we're going to use small again. That's just typically what I use. So div class equals call dash small dash 4, and we're gonna have 3 of those. So let's go ahead and just copy paste this. All right, cool. So we have 4 equally sized, or 3 equally sized rows. So first add a heading. So we're just gonna give it like an H5. So this H5. So if you're confused about what we're making, we are making this bottom part right here. So it's vertical right now, but I believe it'll go across. Yeah. So cool. And the reason it does that is because of the bootstrap. So we want to have 2 equal sized columns, or excuse me. So company, careers, and terms. So let's go ahead and just add this like so, add this like so, and then we'll say company, and then here we actually want to create an OL, unordered list, slash, excuse me, a UL. So UL, and we're going to have 3 list items. And this is going to say careers, terms, help. Excuse me, why? Drink my Pure Leaf unsweetened tea. It's delicious, by the way. Not that I'm sponsored by them, because I'm not, or anything like that. But so it's no sugar, and it's got that nice bitter tea taste if you like bitter. So golden leaf may be a little better for people who don't like bitter. But anyhow, so let's save this and let's just go ahead and take a look before we continue on about what it is we're looking to do. Localhost 8000. I don't know why this page doesn't have a link to it. Some of the other ones do. So you can see right here. Oh, it's looking cool. So it's looking pretty much identical at this point. Yeah. So granted, we want to do a little bit of CSS with that and some padding. So let's go ahead and just finish up what we're doing. So we have another H5 here that would say products. And then we'll do another UL. /UL. We're going to have a list item that says Shutterbugg /LI, and then we're going to have a speaker box, an LI speaker box /LI. Alright, save that. And finally we need news. This is going to be a little bit longer. So we have news. We have a UL /UL, an LI /LI, and there's 5 of these, so LI. Let's just go ahead and copy this over 4 times. So I have 5 of those. I'm not quite sure why they indented themselves. So first one is blog, second one is Twitter. Third one is YouTube. Fourth one is Google Plus. Not that anyone uses it. Fourth one is Facebook. Alright, write CSS to adjust text size and the color to 555, pound 555. Alright, so if we go to, this was in footer, so let's find footer. And we have LI, and we can change the color of our LI right here just to pound 55555. Inside the second and third columns, add headings and lists as shown in the redesign. I think we're done though, so let's check that. Let's save, and let's go to, so let's take a quick analysis. So this is what they have here. Very nice. Now let's go to ours. Again, we're just going for similar. We're not, we're not going for perfection. We've only been working on this about 22 minutes, so similar is good enough right now. Alright, cool. So what we would probably want to do to make this a little bit better is, these are off a little bit, so maybe part of our code we accidentally messed with that, so we'd want to fix that. So wherever it says the Google Apple Play, I believe that maybe this was supposed to go at the top. So we'd want to fix that, and we'd want to do maybe a little bit more CSS for all this sort of stuff and turn these all into links. But all in all, I say we did a pretty good job for, what is it, 24 minutes right about now. So as always, questions, comments, concerns are always appreciated. And if you guys don't know, I'm starting a blog on my website, pizzapokerguy.com, and I have some good, any code that I personally do, like jQuery code, will be up there that you can mess around with too. So anyhow, I appreciate the time. Thumbs up the video, and don't forget to subscribe.